Hey everyone,
Lolita here with Youth Speak.
and we are so excited to bring you yet another Speak Real podcast. We'll be sharing one-on-one conversations with our youth speakers about their stories and some of the lessons that they learned throughout their journeys. We believe that storytelling is the best way to empower youth and give them a platform to find their voices. So today we'll be speaking with Bianca, and we'll be talking to her about her journey and some of the struggles that she faced with her mental health. So, hey Bianca, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I guess we'll just get right into it. I'll start by asking you. Well, first, I know for me personally, when I was going through some of my struggles, it was really hard for me to find those positive words that I can say to myself that I really believed in. And I know that for me, I chose a few words when I did find them, and I wrote them on my mirror, and I would read those words to myself every day just to have them ingrained in myself. So I'm going to ask you, describe in one word the characteristic you aspire to be.
Aspire to be. Okay, I aspire to be graceful. Because it's not really my thing. I really look at myself as that kind of person. It's all calm, serene, graceful, and I really like the idea of just grace and humility in hand. Like those are the two things I just think it's like the best thing you could possibly be. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I know Bianca, just for the little while that I have known you, I could definitely say that graceful definitely suits you, for sure. I feel like you're a graceful, very serene, very calm, very enlightened person. So I definitely feel like that goes.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So get into it. My first question to you would be, tell me about your childhood. What was it like growing up for you?
Okay, so my childhood. So I was born into two parents, Italian household. I have a sister who's 8 years older than me. So that wasn't really an issue. But I did used to hear like my dad and my mom. My dad would, they would fight a lot, like verbally and everything, just kind of back and forth. And that kind of bothered me as a kid because I was really sensitive. I remember being really creative and sensitive and caring and all those things, but I just remember as a kid kind of feeling like, what is this like big bad world, and like how could someone say something like this, to someone? Or and the same kind of pattern happened in school too, right? Where I just was like, how could a kid do this to me or to someone else? Like I just didn't understand what was going on with the world. So when I look at my childhood, I really just remember this feeling of fear, which now I realize was anxiety, but just feeling really like I just don't know what to do, and I don't know why I'm here, and I just don't know what to do about me. Like just always kind of like walking on some sort of eggshell.
Definitely. I totally agree or totally resonate with that. I know that for me growing up, my household was always very chaotic. A lot was always happening. And I mean, I couldn't name it at the time, but fear was the first thing that came to my mind. And later on, I found out that it manifests into anxiety, but definitely fear was the first thing that I remember feeling a lot of those times while growing up. So yeah. I definitely resonate with that. So my next question is, what is the biggest challenge you faced on your journey?
Okay, so this kind of ties in because, I did end up experiencing a 10-year addiction. So that was probably the biggest challenge, but it's like, where did that come from? So what was the real challenge behind that? Behind the fact that I felt like I needed to drink or I needed a substance. Well, that was definitely, I had such low self-esteem. I really, really just kind of felt like I had no place, and I just there was, no self-respect. I felt, just so much darkness, and I don't know why, like, I guess little things like kind of combined from a child, and then they learn how to actually handle life. Like I didn't learn how to handle life. I just was like, okay, maybe I should just run away from it instead. And obviously you mix an addiction to booze and to drugs and everything with a low self-esteem and someone who feels like, what am I supposed to do here? And there's no purpose for me. I mean, like, that just can't be a good combination of things. So I think that was probably the biggest struggle that I had to overcome, but God bless that struggle, because it really did help me in the end. So, yeah.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, I know I definitely know firsthand how difficult addiction can be to overcome. It's been part of my life. It's been part of my family's life. So I commend you, because I know, especially just want to commend you for being able to find that strength and to be standing here today, sober, light as ever. And I'm just proud of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem at all. So my next question to you, Bianca, would be, how did you overcome these struggles?
Okay, well, so you know me, I'm a very like faithful, God-centered person. So I tend to always give him all the credit. But when it comes to a practical thing of what happened, besides my little moment of grace, I did reach out for help. So even though I didn't want to, really what happened was things started getting really, dark. And it was almost like, dying's not worth living, and oh, this sucks. Like, wow, I have to try living. That sucks. And then through that, I had that moment, and then I was at the treatment center because I had asked to go. I was like, okay, I'm running out of options. Like, I need to get help. And from there, that's when I ended up finding a support group. So I think that was the biggest thing, is a support group of people who are alcoholic, so who totally get what it is, who understand that I'm not choosing to drink every day. It's literally, I can't not drink. And so the fact of having people that were like me, but who had overcome their alcoholism, and who had been living sober and happy, and to hear the laughter in the room, that was probably, that's what got me sober, is exactly that, the support group of people that really got me. So yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. We definitely know that support, we can't do anything alone. And I feel like that's the first thing when you're going through something, reaching out and finding that support group. And like you mentioned, that support group that actually knows what you're going through, who can actually relate with what you're going through, and they know they're going to be there for you every step of the way, regardless of what happens. So key. Yeah. So my next question to you would be, what has been the best piece of advice you've gotten from someone else?
Okay, so this one's funny because of advice that I had gotten, I did not like at the time. So my mom actually said to me a long time ago, she looked at me and she's like, Bianca, feelings don't have an IQ. And I'm like, get out of here, because I ran my life on emotion. I didn't feel good, I drank. I felt bad, I drank. I was heartbroken, I drank. I was really excited and in love, I drank. Whatever it was, I drank over things, and I constantly ran my life on my emotions. I was like, how could you not? It's dishonest not to run your life based off how you're feeling. And what happened was, she said that to me, I was offended, I was not happy. And, now, is that not such a model that I'm living by? There's many times where it's like, I don't feel like walking, but I'm going to walk. I don't feel like getting down on my knees to pray, but I'm going to do it because I know that that's going to help me. So, it's just, yeah, feelings don't have an IQ, but, actually acting does. So that's probably the best piece of advice.
That is so powerful. And I love that. I want you to repeat that message so that everyone who's listening can hear it again.
Your feelings do not have an IQ.
Honestly, because it just brings me back to my own journey about discipline. And just like you said, sometimes you're not going to feel like doing this thing, but your feelings have no IQ. So thank you. Such a key message.
So good.
Yeah. So my next question is, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to yourself?
Okay. what advice would I give to myself? So if I could go back in time, although I do not regret anything and I'm happy with where I'm at, if I could talk to teenage Bianca and tell her that she didn't need to succumb to what the world wanted from her, succumb to what she thought men wanted from her. You know, I had, so not only was I involved in an addiction and totally, you know, drinking, and I just needed substances in order to feel fine. But I was extremely promiscuous because I would get myself into a lot of these situations. How to say no? Like, I just became this kind of person that thought, this is what the world wants from me, so this is what I'm going to give them. You know, this is what I'm going to give the world. I'm going to be this person. So I think I would just, you know, tell that teenager, you don't have to sell yourself short in order for people to like you. I mean, that's going to do the opposite actually, but like, just stop, you know, like just stop and realize your worth. Like, you don't have to just be so open like that. So, you know, one of the main things, because that's also very much was a part of my life. I feel lots of shame for all those things. So yeah, that's it.
For sure. Definitely another piece of key advice that for me as a young girl, or even a young man, I felt like such a key piece of advice that I wish I heard when I was that age, right? So again, with another key message, so many messages coming through your story. And I can definitely resonate because a lot of our, we spoke before, and a lot of our, there's a lot of our stories that we relate. There's definitely a lot of our stories that we can relate with. So definitely, I feel like that's a key message that all young men and women should definitely hear.
Yeah.
So in your story, Bianca, you shared some really, really great messaging surrounding so many different things about feelings, not having an IQ, about self-love, about transformation. So I want to ask you, what does
transformation
you today?
Okay, so this is what I think. I think that when we're born, there's almost like there's like a design for our life. There's some sort of like, your name's Bianca, like you're gonna be like this or whatever, right? So
Right.
there was a way that I was supposed to be, or a person I was supposed to come into. And I've changed completely. Like, it's like a 180 because I'm such a different person. So the things I used to say, the things I used to do, believe in, like everything just completely changed. So first off, we must not have a closed mind as to, you know, where life can lead us. But for sure, it's not so much that I've changed and I've become different. It's that I finally came in to who I was supposed to. You know, again, I'm going to mention God because that's, you know, where I'm at. But when God was like, your name's going to be Bianca and you're going to be this type of person, there was already a plan. And I just feel like I came in to what he wanted me to be. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, finally, you know, I can just be me. So that's definitely how I look at transformation, as maybe even unlearning some things, like learning how to become who you actually are, not who the world was telling you you were going to be, but who you actually are and who you were designed to be. Yeah.
Beautiful and beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. And I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with us. I want to thank all the viewers out there for listening. And Bianca, honestly, I know that I know firsthand how hard it can be to sort of own your story and share it. And I want to thank you for coming on and being so vulnerable and talking about the subjects that you did talk about, because I find that these are things that are not often widely talked about. And it's important to talk about them because these are the things that we wish we heard when we were going through our most vulnerable times, through our most struggling times, right? So I thank you again. Thank you, Bianca, for coming on, being vulnerable and sharing with us. Before we go, I'd like to ask you one last question. So if you could describe in one word the characteristic you see yourself as, what would that be?
Okay, so definitely sincere. I think that sincere is the best word to just describe all of it. That's what I try to carry in everything. So just sincere authenticity, those kinds of things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I can definitely say again, from the time that I've known you, sincere is the perfect word for you, because the minute I met you, I genuine, loving person. So for sure, sincere.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Okay. Again, Bianca, for joining us. And thank you all at home for listening and tuning into another episode of the Speak Real podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share if you like what you're hearing, and also come back next Thursday. We're here every Thursday, same place, same time. And also, if you'd like to support our Youth by Youth led projects, you can hop on over to youthspeak.ca. You can find out more about our programming. So definitely head over to YouthSpeak and check it out. So thank you again, Bianca. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks.
Bye.